Hello guys, and we do have some good news from Paris, from the Coalition of the Willing, who seriously discuss boots on the ground in Ukraine. Of course, this will not happen tomorrow, this will not happen close to the front lines, but I think more and more European soldiers want to come to Ukraine to learn our Ukrainian experience, and I'm not exaggerating, because we managed to destroy 20% of Russian oil refining industry, destroy their Black Sea fleet, and how? Even without our long-range missiles. We didn't have them when the strategy to target most vulnerable and most important for the Russian military machine and economy sides started. And all because of the drones. If you ask any Ukrainian on the street, at school, in a supermarket, what do we consider the most important weapon in our fight against Russia? They will all say drones. And honestly, sometimes I feel that many of good people who support us, who believe that Russia can be defeated, still do not understand this difference between the war of the 20th century and the war of the 21st century, and why Ukrainian army, despite limited resources, human resources, money, and this image of Russia's invincibility, is so successful in paralyzing and destroying this pathetic imperial monster. So let's discuss all that in the video. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that has already started, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. To tell you the truth, all these meetings, all these discussions between the Coalition of the Willing and this dictator party in China between Putin, Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping are only possible because Ukraine broke the plan of Russia, because the Blitzkrieg failed, because we keep destroying their military targets strategically, not accidentally. We wiped out cruise missile carriers with spiderweb operation. We made the Black Sea fleet of Russia escape from Crimea to Novorossiysk in Russia, where it belongs. And now we ruin their economy. The results, not just the gasoline crisis, that is the top of the iceberg. The reality is worse, and they speak about stagnation and recession. All of that is possible because of Ukrainian drones. When this war began, we spoke a lot about Ukrainian army. Actually, a new Ukrainian army was born in 2014 after the first Russian invasion. And many people, volunteers, joined the army. And we kept repeating that a small Soviet army can never win a big Soviet army. And I believe you understand the irony. Ukrainian, Belarus, Moldovan, Georgian armies were part of the Soviet army. And most of our military were trained according to the Soviet standards. That's why it was so difficult for many of the Ukrainian colonels, generals, military managers to switch to a very different approach, because once again, a small Soviet army, and we are smaller, that's the reality, can never win a big Soviet army. But here our size, democracy and freedom inside Ukrainian society helps us to become more flexible. And it matters because once again, all of the Ukrainian victories, all of the destructions of their strategic objects, including, think about that, 20% of all Russian oil refining industries, that is huge, in months, not years even, destroyed with drones, not even long-range missiles. We have just developed flamingos. They just learned flying. There are some good news that long-range missiles will be also supplied by the Coalition of the Willing, and that would be good because it means more military targets destroyed in Russia. The world a safer place. That is the only working peace plan. Trust me, Trump will give 2 more hours, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, and then 2 more weeks because he's too weak. And our task is to continue doing what we do well. And it's not just sporadic strikes, it's a strategy. And so far, we were successful in implementing this strategy literally with drones we develop simultaneously with the strategy. Subscribe to witness that together, to witness the defeat of Russia, and share these videos. It helps a lot to fight Russian disinformation, Russian lies that are dangerous not just for Ukraine, but for your countries too. So what we observe right now, even in Ukrainian army, that still needs to be reformed. I'm not trying to depict everything very beautifully. It's a very difficult structure, and a lot of standards has to be changed. Once again, not only to match the NATO standards, but even to exceed, because this is the war of the 21st century. And when I say that some countries like Poland keep preparing to the Second World War, I'm not making a mistake. You keep correcting me. No, I mean it. They prepare to the Second World War when it is already the Third World War. And it is a war of robots. It is a war of drones. We have to name the things the way they are. Language matters, and if you want to experience me as your linguistic teacher, watch this new video on my new channel Anna Danilchuk, where I explain a very important difference between the terms a peace deal, ceasefire, and a truce. Once again, all these meetings of the coalition, all these discussions between Trump and the EU leaders are good, but they plan what they will do after ceasefire. There are no signs that any ceasefire or peace deal is coming. Zelensky will not travel to Moscow. Putin can travel to The Hague. We can meet him there. I think it would be a very good live from The Hague. So what we observe right now is a serious mismatch between the training, between this old experience and skills that many military possess, and new modern battlefield experiences and skills. And another very important fact that many forget about: most of the Ukrainian army is made of volunteers, people who decided to join it because of the existential threat Russian invasion imposes on us. And the majority of these people, as I love to say, just a war ago, were not military. They were not trained. They were not conscripted. They were baristas, they were teachers, they were IT specialists, they were lawyers. And this brought very fresh ideas, innovative decisions into the Ukrainian army. In Russia, it doesn't work like that. They have old standard Gerasimov Shoigu style managers, military, and they disrespect the people that joined the Russian army for the sake of money and opportunity to loot Ukraine. Feel the difference. That's why a lot of beautiful Ukrainian operations, starting from Spiderweb and these attacks on Druzhba pipeline that are super effective in paralyzing Russian war machine, were developed by people who are not military by profession, who became military to defend the motherland and who apply their specific knowledge out of the military field. Look at naval drones. They sank warship Moskva. Just a decade ago, having a navy would mean you're super strong. And now, inexpensive drones that can travel unpredictable trajectories, that can distract your air defense, that once again was built for missiles, not for drones, can be destroyed in months. Russian Black Sea Fleet destroyed by Ukrainian naval drones. And there is one more precedent that many people don't talk about. With drones that can literally reach anywhere, nuclear weapons that a country possesses can impose danger on that very country that possesses them. Ukraine will never do it, but some other regimes can try and do something like that. And here we see that Russian hierarchy, classical monolithic authoritarian style that is also replicated to the army, plays against them. And Ukrainian flexibility, respect to people, understanding that even those who did not have previous military experience can be very effective, can be creative, help develop operations like Spiderweb, the destruction of Druzhba pipeline, the destruction of 20% of Russian oil refining industry in months without usage of long-range missiles. Imagine what can we do with that. They described Ukrainian-Russian war as an asymmetrical warfare. It is, but with creativity, with innovation, and with democracy. That's vital. Remember that. It's not just about words. It's not just about universities. It's not just about, I don't know, strikes and some discussions. It's about survival. Because if you have some freedom, if you have some democracy, if you have some respect inside your army, inside your school, inside your streets, you are a better country, you are a healthy country, you have more chances to win. And that's exactly what we observe here in Ukraine on the battlefield. And that's why Russia keeps failing. Russia keeps failing. And you know that. The thing is that the world was Moscow-centric for such a long period of time. You didn't know a lot about Ukraine, you didn't know a lot about Moldova, and unfortunately, this helps them manipulate the opinion often. But witnessing more and more failures, more and more explosions on their military targets, I'm sure people will understand that the only working peace plan is to defeat and demilitarize Russia. I know you know that, but spread the word. And to be our ambassadors, check the merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and we need that. And follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, descriptions, and links in the description of this video. And remember to join me this Saturday, 9 p.m. Kyiv time for a live conversation. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming patrons and sponsors of the channel, but channels, because I'm a responsible adult. If you support me, I am blessed to speak and share more. Thank you for wanting to know more about Ukraine. And thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!